Why is Japan facing one of the worst depopulation crises in history? And what does it have to tell us about the rest of the world? Now, first of all, you might not believe this, but in January 2022, Prime Minister Fumio Kishida gave a speech where he warned that Japan's population is shrinking so fast that the country was, quote, on the cusp of whether it can maintain its societal functions. Now, that may sound a bit hyperbolic, but consider this. 2021 marked the lowest recorded number of births in the history of Japan. And while major cities like Tokyo continue to grow, the rest of the country is in rapid decline. In fact, current projections indicate that Japan is expected to shrink by over 30 million people in less than 30 years. But in order to see why this trend is so dangerous, we need to first see why most of the world came to believe that overpopulation was actually the problem. In fact, the idea that there are simply too many people in the world is a popular view that dates back over 200 years ago to Thomas Malthus. For Malthus, this fear of overpopulation actually led to him detesting the poor. As a result, he proposed various solutions to what he thought was an imminent overpopulation crisis, with nearly all of them involving killing off much of Britain's poorer populations. Malthus even went so far as to publicly call for the return of the plague in order to achieve this goal. Paul Ehrlich echoed many of Malthus's original thoughts in his book, Population Bomb. And in the 1980s, China implemented a one-child policy based on many of the arguments Ehrlich put forward. And even to the present day, there have been a near endless stream of claims from individuals, governments, and international organizations like the World Economic Forum arguing that the world is overcrowded. Now, to be fair, there was a population boom between 1800 and today. As a matter of fact, the population went from 1 billion in 1800 to over 8 billion today. But far from driving humanity to the brink of starvation, the poverty rates have actually been slashed. In 1800, over 80% of those 1 billion people were living in complete poverty. But today, with 7 billion more people, the number is less than 20%. Virtually every prediction Ehrlich has made has been completely disproven, in some instances with laughable results. And in China, the government went from imposing a one-child policy before finally axing all population controls in 2021. China realizes the same thing Kishida is warning about in Japan. The depopulation is a far greater threat than overpopulation. When you look at places where depopulation has already taken place, you almost always find shrinking economies, fewer jobs, and declining living standards compared to places with a healthy and stable population growth. And the reason why is because human beings themselves are a very valuable resource, not just another hungry mouth to feed. And with fewer people around to work, innovate, create, build, and problem solve, society can, and often has, gone into stagnation.